Hello, my name is David Kuno. Today we're going to take a look at Celonis' Intelligent Business Cloud platform. Of the many systems and processes that there are in the world, what we're focused on today is just one example where Celonis has tackled a process, in this case the car claims process, for an insurance company. Again, Celonis can work across many different systems, look at the processes that are embedded within these systems, such as procure to pay, policy management, customer service desk, IT service management, you name it. Celonis has the ability to be able to do the type of dynamic creation, analytics, leverage the machine learning, and the AI. So today I want to demonstrate here briefly, just to give you some context around what Celonis is capable of doing. In this particular case, we conducted a proof of value with an insurance company where we ingested 143,000 records of their claim system. This translated into about $323 million worth of payments with an average processing time of 32 days. Now, what you're looking at here is what we call our process discovery screen. This is some of the initial screens that our customers begin looking at in terms of analyzing their processes and their data. In looking at this, what you're seeing here in the middle is the most common path of the 143,000 claim files that each of those take. We call this our happy path. The reason for this is when you look at the various steps going through here, we've got about 26,000 of them that go through a pretty simple and almost gold standard process. Now, this isn't typically the case in every situation, but this is the most common path in this particular example. When we look at the second and third most common paths, what we call variants, you can begin to see where the deviations are taking place. Now, mind you, what you're seeing here is dynamically generated from the data that is within your system. And what Celonis' process mining technology that's patented and really defined the industry does is give you the ability to visualize what's happening often beneath the covers of the application and behind the scenes. Not even BI KPI analytics give you this capability to see. When you take a look at the entire picture and think back to whenever you were involved with a business process mapping exercise, typically a workshop, what typically doesn't get written up on the board is something that looks like this. But what you're looking at here is the full 64 different ways in which these 143,000 claims get paid. When you look at just the top three, that's only 42%. And this is where we were looking at assigning a claims adjuster, updating claims information, and following these various paths. A number of the ways that we can actually look at this information is in terms of the case frequency, but we also have the capability to look at the throughput time. So in looking at this, one of the first aha moments that this particular customer found is that there were 9 days on average just to assign a claims adjuster. An additional 48 days were taken just to get to scanning an evaluation report, and an additional 2 days. This appeared to be a pretty significant bottleneck with the customer and one of the things that they wanted to look at. So let's step into the analytics piece of this and take a look to see if we can find out where these bottlenecks are happening. In the case here on our overall process analysis page, we are still able to see the process from our process discovery page, still able to select and look at the area of which is interest, which is the assigning of the claims adjuster, and also be able to select this and make this our core focus on this page. And what you've seen is the process has straightened out now because the only thing we are looking at is assigning a claims adjuster at this particular point. And what this gives us the capability to do is see, based on seasonality, that in January, there are a significant number of claims. We are able to, at any point in time, click on this and say, I wish to select just January, and start to focus our analysis just a bit more. Now, what stands out here and what's interesting is that Miami and New York seem to have the highest number of claims adjusters being assigned. And with that, we have the capability to drill in and select just Miami or just New York. And with that, or just both of these here, with that, be able to focus our efforts on the things that we want to see. What's interesting for this client, when they were looking at the claims adjustment process and assigning that adjuster, they also noticed that a significant number of these claims were paid out at less than $100. Now, what the vice president of the operations of claims noted is that when a claims adjuster is often assigned, a car rental is given at an average cost of $50 a day. And so what became apparent to the operations leader is that they were actually spending more on car rental for the payment of just $100 or less after the deductible. This was an area for them to look at, especially when they looked across the board and saw an average of 48 days in terms of getting an approval for a repair. This was a cash leakage out of their organization and something that they focused on trying to correct and automate, creating better thresholds for their approval. Additionally, with Celonis, we can look at such things as automation. Many organizations are looking at RPA, and that P part of RPA is very important. Oftentimes, the automation takes place before we understand the process. With Celonis, we are critical, and we partner with the top 3 RPA technologies that are out in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And with that, these customers use Celonis as a precursor to any automation efforts, mostly because what Celonis gives them is 100% transparency of what is happening in a particular process. We're able to articulate what are the low-hanging fruit items for automation versus randomly picking one and hoping that we get the kind of ROI out of automating a process. Because we understand the time and the throughput of that, plus where the number of cases are, you can see here from this particular example where automation is very low in terms of allocating an invoice, scanning an invoice, adjusting an invoice, updating claim information, some low-hanging fruit there that could easily be calculated into a significant ROI, whereas checking for fraud is highly automated, as well as creating a claim file. Additionally, we have the ability to look at cycle times. We can look at rejected claims. Very powerful piece is our benchmarking capability. With the benchmarking, we have the capability to do comparative analysis with really any piece of the data. This could be pre-RPA initiative, post-RPA initiative. This could be one unit or one office or one agency against another. It really gives you the same analytical tools to compare any particular unit of data with another. And when one is trying to strive across a very complex technology landscape and complex organizational landscape, where are the best practices? Celonis gives us the capability to provide that transparency to each of those units, whatever those units might be. Additionally, if you've been involved with any sort of business process mapping or modeling capability, we always strive to find what is our gold standard that we wish to achieve. And oftentimes when we implement the system behind it, then we try to measure and say, how are we doing in terms of our 2B or gold standard model? Now with Celonis, you can either create the model in here, or we can import it from another BPM platform. In any case, we instantiate this here as a way in which to leverage the machine learning and the AI, putting a stake in the ground as to what the organizational goals are. Through that, the machine learning is then able to analyze the data, oftentimes loaded on a daily basis, and present the pattern recognition that is often necessary when trying to find root cause of the problems. In the past, this has been done through spreadsheets and KPI dashboards. With the machine learning, we have the capability to immediately point out where violations are taking place, understand what the throughput time impact is, how many more additional steps are being taken, and then also understand what are the causes for this. In this particular case, looking 13% of the time, we are reopening a claim file. Now, we have the capability in Celonis to go in and do any of the analysis that we've previously seen on the tabs along the bottom on just these cases, the 13%. We also have the capability just to click on it, and in one click and another click, find out where those root causes are coming from in this violation, all the way down to see the office, an agency, what type of department is it, all the way down to an agent or a person. Whatever the data is available within the system, we have access to be able to use that in identifying those root causes. Again, PII data is always protected. It's not necessary. So oftentimes the questions we face in terms of security, we are able to handle and anonymize data and protect the PII data. In looking at our overall process explorer capabilities, oftentimes when we begin the process journey and looking at ways and opportunities, ways in which we can leverage the opportunities, oftentimes it's important to be able to breathe life into the data. Data oftentimes is very static. It's in spreadsheets, it's in reports. But what the Process Explorer gives us the capability to do is at the top here, with every burst is a brand new day, and you can see where the claims go. This, being the bottom down here of a timeline, is about 1 year's worth of data. And through this, you can start to see where immediately bottlenecks are, areas of focus that an operations vice president or director could start to ask poignant questions of what's happening in here. How do we streamline this? How do we get better KPI measures out of this particular process? And especially when looking at RPA and automation units, it would be great to understand what's happening in these areas in regarding to rework or bottlenecks that are taking place. One of the questions that many customers come up with is, so what do I do with this? When the action engine, which is a part of the Celonis platform, is engaged, and you have the capability to dive in and operationalize what is happening within your organization, it gives us the ability to put control into the hands of your people, get ahead of the problems before they become critical or before they become problematic. And because of the machine learning understanding what's happening in the process, the AI is able to get ahead of it and point out where to act upon this. Now, I don't have a claims-specific demo of the action engine, but it's all the same regardless of what process that we are looking at here. So to demonstrate this, what you're looking at is a supervisor's viewpoint within the action engine. This gives me, as a supervisor, the ability to see a list of action items that need to be addressed, who they're assigned to, and this list is prioritized based on its impact and its capability to move the needle in terms of the gold standard. So they're not just randomly put up here, but they're put up here based on their priority and their importance. So in the case of Peter, you can see a number of items here for Peter. When Peter signs in, his dashboard would include these three, these four, and possibly a few others. All of those are prioritized. You can see here there are automation bots that also need to be addressed. And it's as easy as clicking on this with all the information relevant here. The action panel over here can be configured to actually dive right into the system that we are looking at in terms of claims, in terms of AP, whatever that system is. We can assign it to other people. We have a fully configurable action panel over here that gives our users the ability to immediately engage from this platform, all from within Celonis. And this is the way in which the AI gives us the ability to operationalize it and make that digital transformation a daily event within the company. I hope this has been helpful for you. Looking for the right solution in terms of your digital transformation, I think Celonis is probably one of the biggest impacts to understanding what is happening within any digital system, understanding the digital footprints. We'd love the opportunity to talk with you, and hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you.